Let's take the Rambam, please. So look at the Rambam in the beginning of Hilchot Teshuvah. It's all the way at the end of the book that you are reading.
Maybe you are the only one can give me the answer.
Yeah, what's
Gedalia ben Ahikam
yeah.
was Yehuda, Binyamin, Malchut, not Malchut.
What's the question exactly? What's your question?
Is he in Yehuda or Binyamin?
It says in Tanakh that after Am Israel went to Galut, Nebuchadnezzar told him to stay, and he became like the ruler of Israel.
I understand.
So a few
that.
thousand Jews following. For which Shevet are you?
No.
I don't know yet. If you want, it's very easy to look. Yes.
Is it written in anything in the Yamim or only in
Or
Tanakh?
in Yamim, or the end of Melachim, or the end of
Melachim, nothing.
Okay, see, maybe
the Yamim, maybe not.
Maybe
Only Tanakh.
Maybe the Midrash, who knows? But it's not open.
Yani we don't know reality which Shevet and if he is Malchut or not.
But see, this man has always good questions. Every time you have a question, it's a good question. When you come to the question, you know, we have to think.
Not like his son.
No, this is Jimmy takes after his father. Baruch Hashem. See, before businessman, the teacher. I'm to take the Rambam a second. Look a second in Rambam Hilchot Teshuvah. Yeah, כל המצוות שבתורה, ג'וזף here. Tomorrow is the English anniversary of the massacre in Israel.
They're doing demonstration all over New York tomorrow. I don't know what they are demonstrating or celebrating. I don't know how.
Who is
the Palestinians? I don't understand how is the city of New York allowing it. It's like celebrating 9/11 and coming to the anniversary.
I was wondering if you're coming to me.
Why not? Manish Tana this Sunday. Every Sunday. Joseph says, I mentioned that tomorrow is the English 8th of the anniversary of the massacre. He said he wonders why New York allows demonstration. It's unfortunately a democracy.
Let them demonstrate on 9/11 also.
There's a theory that Israel is going to have a happy day tomorrow.
Inshallah.
They're going to bombs away everywhere.
By tomorrow night we'll know this rumors. Till tomorrow is good.
Okay, October 7th, we can celebrate the Mach Shema.
Every mother that lost a son will never celebrate.
Oh.
Every kid that became an orphan will never celebrate. No, always celebrate. That's Israel will
Right.
destroy
We're gonna
we
see
are
it.
afraid to admit that we lost, we made a mistake, people are not fired. I mean, we are afraid, we're trying to cover it with nice colors.
We didn't make mistake, Rabbi.
But
It
We're gonna
was
see
purpose.
Nisim B'nai Flavot.
Oh.
Okay,
it's
is that good? Is
this-
that better?
This is much
Okay.
better.
Okay, that's
See what
better,
it
okay.
was? It's much better. Hashem Yishmerenu, Hashem Yishmerenu. Ezra, see, very often is the language, Ezra.
Amen.
No, we mentioned that tomorrow is the anniversary, the English anniversary, so Ezra says we hope to see miracles tomorrow. But
Hashem, Hashem.
the Rambam says in the beginning of Hilchot Teshuvah, כל המצוות שבתורה בין עשה בין לא תעשה, אם עבר אדם על אחת מהם עשה, like מצה, שבת, אם עבר לא תעשה, אם עבר אדם על אחת מהם בין בזדון בין בשגגה, listen to this language, כשיעשה תשובה וישוב מחטאו, when he decides to repent and to change, חייב להתוודות לפני הקהל ברוך הוא. בואי, מה פירוש כשיעשה תשובה? Am I obligated to do תשובה? רני עונה, מה זה כשיעשה? Rambam should have said there is a mitzvah on a person. So many commentators say there's no need to write it's a mitzvah. It's obvious. If I make a mistake, of course you have to change. The chidush of the Rambam is that when you repent, it's not accepted unless you verbally admit שחייב להתוודות, שנאמר, איש או אישה, כי יעשו מכל חטאת האדם, למעול מעל בהשם, והאשמה הנפש ההיא, when a man makes a mistake, man or woman, והתוודו את חטאתם אשר עשו. Why is vidui as so important? God, I'm really sorry. I'll give you an interesting example, okay? Yesterday, I gave a class in Dafayom. It's a complicated case in the Gemara. Okay, so I prepared, I said what I said, and two people disagreed with me, and then I realized they're right. So there's two ways to admit it, Joseph. Either to say you are right or to say I'm wrong. You know the difference?
Yeah.
So first I told them, no, the way you're learning, it seems with the Rashbam that you are right. Then we are afraid to say that we made a mistake. This is what we do. We do is only if you verbally, yes, say, I was wrong, it shows that you recognize it. Otherwise, you feel guilty, you don't feel so comfortable. The Rambam says, you have to. V'vidui ze mitzvat aseh. Now the Rambam says, the Rambam didn't say that the teshuvah is mitzvat aseh. The teshuvah is mitzvat aseh, obviously. Obviously, teshuvah. There's one more Rambam there, the last one he writes at the top. The vidui ze, the Rambam says, a mitzvat aseh. So remember, the idea of the vidui is by saying it, כיצד מתוודה אומר, אנא השם, חטאתי, עוויתי, פשעתי לפניך, ועשיתי כך וכך. This is really our text in Tefillah, of course it's been taken from here. This is really from the Gemara in Yoma. חטאתי, עוויתי, פשעתי לפניך, ועשיתי כך וכך. והרי ניחמתי, I regret. ובושתי, I'm ashamed במעשיי, ולעולם איני חוזר לדבר הזה. I really would like to, by regret so sincere, that I would try not to do it again.
So Rabbi,
כן? זהו עיקרו של וידוי, וכל המרבה להתוודות ומעריך בעניין זה, הרי זה משובח. You say it longer, and you are talking about it longer, obviously, הרי זה משובח, מספר יציאת מצרים. Again, if I'm not embarrassed to talk about it, it shows that it really bothers me, right? Person made a bad investment and he really lost, right? He repeats it a million times because it really hits him on. So the Rambam, if a person is ma'arich, הרי זה משובח. Joseph, what's your question?
So this, I have a situation like with regretting and feeling so guilty, like whatever we did, let's say in the past, I say that that's part of my development. I don't really regret it and say
it's a good question. It's a serious question. Joseph says, you know, people are young, people do a lot of stupid things. Everyone does. But the answer is, it's not that you don't regret it. You don't have to regret it as much as you have to regret speaking Lashon Hara at the age of 45, you understand? But you have to, because what we did was wrong. It's that we were not mature enough, the situation, the circumstances, the avirot that we did as young people do not count as strong as today. You know, we say, but David Alecha Hashem. If you think about it, listen carefully to the pasuk. Chatot is if you listen carefully to the text, David HaMelech should have said Chatot u'pish'ei namurai. What we do as young people, sometimes a very serious stuff. Yeah? Why does David say Chatot me'amurai? Psha'ah, you have to score. The commentator here, Joseph, this is the answer directly to your question. The serious commentator say, whatever you do at a young age, even though you knew that this is wrong, but to you, to me, to him, it counts as chet. It's the lowest. Why? Because you're not mature, you're not. Psha'ah is, as we mature and we know how destructive and how wrong is what we do, then it becomes a passion, you understand? But the regret, you have to regret. This is
when we say Midot Hashem, Shoshas Midot,
you give a midot, right?
This is for the tzibur, though we don't really see it for the individual, or because Hashem tells us this is how you're supposed to. When you want to make teshuvah, this is what you should say. He tells Moshe. How does that reflect to us? Is it only at times Mondays and Thursdays on Yom Kippur, when we say?
Okay, I mean, he is asking. It seems from the Gemara that it's only with the tzibur that, because the collective tshuva here. Let me show you the Rambam.
So what's the question?
He's asking you, give a midot shel rachamim. The Gemara said, we learned last week in Rosh Hashanah, Hashem is teaching Moshe, כל זמן שישראל עושים בפניו בסדר הזה, I'm forgiving you. So, is it talking about me and you individually, or when the tzibur does it collectively?
Seems to be the tzibur.
Go second the Rambam. Go a few pages further. Go to פרק הלכות תשובה, פרק ב', הלכה ו'. הלכה ו'. אף על פי, פרק ב', הלכה ו'. Listen carefully. It's indirectly what Yila is asking. אף על פי שהתשובה והצעקה יפה לעולם. Whenever a person sincerely regrets and he sincerely prays to Hashem to forgive him, לעולם, whatever you do it, any day of the year is good. Says the Rambam, בעשרת הימים, these 10 days that began on ראש השנה, בעשרת הימים שבין ראש השנה ויום הכיפורים, היא יפה ביותר. יפה ביותר. ומיד ומתקבלת. Later we'll talk about מיד ומתקבלת. But any sincere tshuva that we do beginning of Rosh Hashanah until Shabbat, until Yom Kippur, מיד מתקבלת. שנאמר, This is a famous pasuk for the prophets. Dirashu Hashem behimatzeo. Seek to Hashem when he is to be found. Karau biyoto karov. This is the time that Hashem is karov to us. Now, Rambam continues here. במה דברים אמורים ביחיד? ביחיד, which means each one of us individually, in your house, in your basement, in your den, you do teshuvah in these 10 days, it's much easier. עבר בציבור, when the public is doing it, like people did in Israel starting October 7, thousands of shul, yes, people came together mamash, yeah, בני מלכנו, והמידות, כן? עבר בציבור, כל זמן שעושים תשובה וצועקים בלב שלם, כל זמן. Which means if the ציבור did it October 7 last year, months and weeks later, and they still do it in many places, right? הם נענים, שנאמר, here listen to the pasuk is quoting now, שנאמר, כהשם אלוקינו בכל קוראינו אליו. This is a pasuk in Chumash. ומי גוי גדול, פרשת בית חנן, אשר לא אלוקים קרובים אליו, take out the Chumashim a second, you let it say again.
So, Rabbi, like exact question. For example, I used to go when I was young, give my money before Shabbat to my Jewish friends to buy me ticket to Northern. So now, today, what is that regretting? I mean, I don't regret it. I mean, it was for me, I was doing my best. So, no, really, I mean, like, in words, what do I have to say today?
You're an honest man. The only thing, what you're saying now is, if the same situation
Would you
will
do it
occur
again?
to me today, would you do it? The answer is no.
I know about Shabbat, I know more. Of course,
No,
Yeah,
but
so
this is different.
that's
No, but you have to say it. What you did was, I wish all my averot would be as big as your this averot. You know what I mean?
but word by word to say regretted all these things, like what do I have to do now? What I mean, I have to say verbally saying, like, I mean, all these things, like what
Yeah, look, this morning I prayed in the minyan upstairs. They said the Viduya Gadol. Everything is mentioned there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything is mentioned there. You just say, I'm sorry that when I was young, I didn't know many halachot. I didn't see it.
But the other part is you said, I'm gonna try and not do it again, so that's part of it. Right?
But he's the key, is the key. I mean, now I'm talking to Joseph, I'm talking to myself. There's something very interesting. Chafetz Chaim spoke. I was at Israel for America, did the big convention in Europe twice before the war. So he spoke, then he said publicly to every rabbi in his community has to speak to the people. So you heard that many rabbis are saying, who are we? Who are we? The Chafetz Chaim asked permission to speak again, and he said as follows. Listen carefully what he said. He said, there was a farmer, a simple farmer, that did a favor to the king, and the king honored him by visiting him privately. He was a poor farmer, he serves the king regular water, the water was dirty. Okay, he didn't realize that you have to boil it, you have to distill it. Before the king left, the king told him, from now on, don't drink, I'm a king. Don't drink water unless you boil it, you distill it, you clean it. There was a big fire. The entire house of the farmer. The king is asking him, if you have water to fill the fire, because you told me not to use water before you distill them, before you boil them. I think there's so much water in this. You left.
Yeah.
The king told him, I am going to fire. Says the Chafetz Chaim to the people. Normally, we have no right to speak to others. When the fire is burning, the world is on fire. You realize October 7 was a little glimpse to us. The world is in fire. Right? everyone can put out the fire. So this is the answer. The answer is, if we have a similar challenge, why did you tell it to your friends? You wanted to go to a buffet? You told your friends to. Today also, me and you have other situations that I would like to do something. And by looking, today I know much more. The teshuvah really is, it's not used, each one of us, yes? Everyone regrets what the shtuyot we did. But why did I do it? Because I couldn't overcome my desire to do A, B, or C. In a minute we'll talk about it. So this is the teshuvah. Joseph,
Sincerely
Joseph,
regret it, that's the
forget
problem.
what you did. As a teenager, let's talk, Joseph. We are mature adults. What we did the last 25 years is plenty of
Funny stuff to regret.
plenty of. Open a second, Sefer Parashat Vayetchanan, Sefer Devarim, Vayetchanan. Well, which page? 960. See about Koreh Baruch Hashem. Let's know the pasuk. Which pasuk? Yeah. Which pasuk is it? Pasuk Zan. תודה רבה. So look a second. Okay, let's start pasuk Hey. ראה, לימדתי אתכם חוקים ומשפטים, כאשר ציווני אדוני אלוהי לעשות כן בקרב הארץ אשר באים שם למשתה. I was teaching you for 40 years all the mitzvot that you are supposed to keep when you go to the ושמרתם ועשיתם. Make sure. כי היא חוכמתכם ובינתכם לעיני העמים, אשר ישמעו את כל החוקים האלה. And the nations hear. ואמרו רק עם חכם ונבון הגוי הגדול הזה. Listen to a puzzling pasuk. אולי, כי מי גוי גדול, אשר לא אלוהים קרובים אליו, כאדוני אלוהינו, בכל קוראינו אליו. Moshe Rabbeinu is saying the reason the nation, God is so close to them as we, whenever we turn to him. Good. This is not true. If you look in Sefer Melachim, when Shlomo HaMelech is dedicating the Beit HaMikdash, he says openly, every Gentile and everyone that wants to turn to God, his prayers are accepted. How can you say, כי מי גוי גדול, אשר לא אלוהים קרובים אליו, כהשם אלוקינו בכל קוראינו. You see the Haftarah of Yom Kippur, the people on Nineveh are turning to Hashem accepting it. And so Ishmael, you read the first day of Rosh Hashanah, Ishmael, Agar is crying. Says the Rav of Brisk, you realize, says the Rav of Brisk, every Gentile can pray, and Hashem listens to him. The Arabs are sincere prayers, but the concept of collective prayers and the concept of the Gimal Midot is only twice. כך אומר פשט בפסוק הזה, this is how it is. כי מי גיא גדול בכל קוראינו אליו, קוראינו collectively, collectively together. The power of תפילה בציבור is only for Jews. Non-Jews have the power of tefillah.
There's no such thing as a minyan, there's no such thing as collective.
And another is, the minyan is, it quadruples the power of
When they
tefillah.
gather in a mosque, so that's not going to be considered collective praying for them.
They can pray a million people. For Hashem, it's a million individuals. For us, when 10 people pray together, and it brings this Gemara that you just mentioned. Then he said, this you Gimal Midot, that Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu. Whenever we sincerely saying it, not real.
So you're tying it into Tzibor, it's just
Right.
It's gonna
This is the reason why this is the reason why that individual cannot say Gimal Midot.
say with two.
Say with,
Okay, no, but
because then it becomes the
Mitur becomes the Kalinian Shigas.
But Sibur idea should be by them also, like in mosque they come in the speaker, they say Allahu Akbar, or in the church they have this bells.
No.
That's right.
Old people
No,
say,
no,
Right, just don't get
Yeah, of
the,
course,
they get
No, of
the
course,
bleachers, not the box seats.
Of course they are doing it. But the Torah, when Hashem says, Moshe Rabbeinu is saying that we are the only one, says the Rabbi Brisk, of course they do, because we did it, they do it also. But the power of a million Muslims praying together is a million individuals. And by us 10 plus, the power of this tefillah is much stronger than tefillah. This is the shot of the tefillah. Let's look a second how David HaMelech is praying. For you, I brought one English one. Take Tehillim, everyone.
There's no concept at all. There's no concept of being part of.
Correct. Of Tzibur. The concept of Tefillah B'Tzibur doesn't exist. The power, as far as Hashem. Open chapter 51 in Tehillim.
So why do they get together on Sundays or Fridays for
The
the
same
Muslims?
reason that people sing the national anthem in the ballroom. Because it makes tremendous, makes
Makes them feel good.
makes a tremendous impact on people. And they're basically doing what the Jewish people do. So let's see what David HaMelech is saying here. Chapter 51, and Rani has the English translation. This is many of the rules of Tshuva here. Called 51, Tehillim 51, Nun Aleph. You have it, Nun Aleph. What's the Siddur after Tehillim? Okay. למנצח מזמור לדוד. So David wrote this when בבוא אליו נתן הנביא כאשר בא אל בת שבע. After the case with Bathsheba, right? Natan HaNavi comes to him, and Natan HaNavi is not telling him, first I'm talking to you about Bathsheba, he's giving him the famous analogy. Who was a wealthy man, and a poor neighbor. The poor neighbor had one lamb. Basically, the wealthy man tricked the poor man, and took away the lamb. And what did he say? David, you are the judge. And David, unfortunately, said what he's supposed to say. But Mavata is the man should be executed. Because of that, he lost 4 children. Yes? This executioner himself, every time, right? David lost the baby that she was pregnant with. David lost his oldest son, Amnon, murdered by Avshalom. David lost Avshalom, and David lost Adoniyahu. Why? Because he said, every time we judge someone, it's included, and we are facing the same situation.
When you say 4, can I get the 4 words? Then
No, I didn't say.
Why are the children getting punished for their father's word or sin?
Chas v'shalom, they were punished each one on his own. Why did David suffer the pain of losing 4 kids? Because he said they died simply because each one had his own story. Yes, the first one raped his sister. Yes, second one rebelled against his father. The third one rebelled and came to Shlomo to ask for whatever the woman. I mean, each one got his. Why did David suffer this pain of losing 4 kids? This is the king, David HaMelech.
The kids could have lived longer after David and then be punished, or David could have we see Abraham he didn't lose 5 years because he didn't lose. He got everything he decided, but not to say he could work it out, so you don't suffer the pain of the.
All the Sfarim are saying what you're saying. Yeah? All the kids are punished for their own doing this. Why should the father suffer the pain? Right? If Rashi says in Chumash Parashat Eikim that Aaron suffered the pain of losing his children because of his participation at his level of Cheta. It says in the text that they did the Avera. They did the Avera and they died for the Avera. Why did Aaron have to lose 2 kids on the biggest day of his life? It's exactly what you say. This is what the Bar Yosef says. Later we're reading Tehillim 51, the chapter that David HaMelech writes after Natan Hanavi comes to him. So Lamnatziach, okay, so David says, Choneni Elohim kechazdecha. Ata chonen le'adam da'at. What is the word chaden? Look at the English translation, Rani. First word in Pasuk Gimel.
Show me favor.
Show me favor.
And
Which means David says, I don't
me a
deserve.
favor.
Do me a favor, Hashem, yes? Choneni Elohim kechazdecha. Kerov rachamecha meche peshai. Continue.
Oh Hashem, according to your kindness, erase my transgressions.
Right. Now, later, okay, stop here a second. Go a second to Pasuk 17 now, Pasuk Yod. Every day before Amidah, we start with this psukim, correct? Adonai sefatai tiftach. Most people are unaware. This is written by David as part of his teshuvah. What is he saying? Says the Radak, says Rabbeinu Yonah Brachot, listen carefully. Look at the next pasuk. Ki lo tachpotz zevach ve'etna. Ola lo tirtzeh. I cannot bring you a korban to atone. You know why? A korban is if you do a mistake. I should have investigated more. So a korban wouldn't help me. Says Rabbeinu Yonah, every time when we start Amidah, we start with this phrase. Hashem, let me talk to you. Because the korban doesn't help very often. When we speak Lashon Hara, it doesn't help. Yes? So this is why David is saying, Hashem, Sefatai tiftach ufi yagid kiratecha. Why? Ki lo tachpot, says Rabbeinu Yonah. Ki lo tachpot zevach ve'etna ola lo tirtzeh. My korbanot are not going to help me here because what I did is above korbanot. This is why, says Rabbeinu Yonah, Masechet Berachot, our prayers begin with the pasuk, Tehillim 51, definitely. Tehillim 51, pasuk Yudchet. David continues, Zivchei Elokim, pasuk 18, Zivchei Elokim, the real korban that I can bring you is Ruach Nishbara. Lev Nishbar ונדכה אלוהים לא תבזה. Please read it. Right.
The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit. Oh God, you will not deprive a broken and humiliated, a humbled heart.
Which means David says to Hashem, I understand that my prayers are not as good, but you know my heart, and my heart is broken. This is the key all year round when we really pray, yes? The shoresh of a korban, says the Radak, the roots of every korban is not the $1,000 animal that you bought or the aliyah that you bought to yourself, is how do you feel in your heart? You know, there are many stories and many talks of many rabbis to the heart. So you understand? So some branches of Judaism says it's okay, the only thing is the heart. You can eat the pork on Yom Kippur, but in your heart you're Jewish. David says, at my level, my prayers is not enough. It's what I feel inside, and this is the truth about every tefillah, yes? Then he says, when Tiva B'Tzorcha Tzion is going to be built, yes? So remember, this is very important, Rabbeinu Yonah. Hashem Sevatai Tiftach, because the korban will help me. A, because of the magnitude of my mistake. B, because the korban is on a shogeg.
So tefillah being a subject is more than a subject.
This is exactly what Rabbeinu Yonah says. we don't have enough brachot with Rabbeinu Yonah. But this is exactly the point. The point is that the power of tefillah with a broken heart, or sincere heart, is much stronger than Korban can do. But this is what makes it tefillah a tefillah.
He kept his wife, David HaMelech kept the wife, right?
Yeah. He's asking the question. He's asking, if David kept Bathsheba, he said, how can you go to the mikveh and hold in the sherets? So the Malbim is using his question exactly to prove that the opinion of the Gemara is the
That
right
is what
opinion.
he will
This is
make sense, yeah.
The Malbim is using your question as a proof. What the
Very
Gemara says in Shabbat, legally she is divorced. When Hashem is screaming on him, is, but you are a king. The divorce is not enough. It's legally everything is perfect, but you are a king. How can you do it?
The other side.
She's not a married woman. This is what the bothers David is saying, you look a second when Hashem is yelling at him.
I was thinking about this.
Shmuel bet, chapter Yud.
How does the other side argue that David did sin? How could he stay married to Abal Haboel?
Of course, this is
So where did they come from? I mean,
Well,
Abael is saying that he did. So I mean, you
the
can't just say it.
Malbim wipes the floor with the Barbanel with your question. He says, well, what do you mean? Of course
He
not.
still says it. He must have something there. There must be something.
Take out more Tanakh. You have more than that. Anyway.
Shmuel Aleph?
Shmuel bet, Perek bet. Okay, no one wants it. Okay, you can take the more Tanakh, the other Tanakh. We'll give. This is Ezra. You bought it. We'll give it to you. Ezra, you bought 4. Sefer Shmuel bet, Perek bet. We didn't forget it. Bet with bet. Exactly. It pays Joseph. It pays to look in. You can give Joseph one. Give Joseph. Shmuel bet, Perek with bet. Look, if you have this Tanakh, the advantage, you see this. It tells you which book, Joseph. Look, you look for Shmuel.
Tabs.
You have tabs. Yes, Shmuel. It's a very good question. Here,
Which page?
Yud bet. Pasuk Yud Zayin. Yud Zayin. Here, Joseph, take it here. Pasuk Yud Zayin. You have it? You found it there? Shmuel bet. Let's read carefully how the Navi is rebuking, but let's read it carefully. Remember, as always, everyone is using our Torah to whoever he wants to preach. You find the Pasuk or Rambam here. Vayomer Natan al David. See, you have the Pasuk Zayin. So Pasuk Zayin, see? Zayin. ויאמר נתן אל דוד, אתה האיש, כה אמר השם אלוקי ישראל, אנוכי משחתיך למלך על ישראל, ואנוכי הצלתיך ביד שאול, שאול was chasing you to kill him. ואתנה לך את בית אדונך, you replaced שאול, ואת נשי אדונך בחלקך, this is an interesting פסוק, מה זה נשי אדונך בידיך? רצפה בת היער, who was a pelegus of David, a pelegus of Shaul.
David married him?
David took him, Shaul is saying. ואתנה לך את נשי אדונך בחיקך, ואתנה לך את בית ישראל ויהודה,
She considered one of the 18.
I don't know this, but the Shaul says that either she was a pelegus or she was a wife. It's probably ויתנה לך את בית ישראל ויהודה, והיא מעט, והוסיפה לך כהנה וכהנה. What we expect, Joseph, listen carefully what he's rebuking you. I appointed you, I said, מדוע ביזית את דבר השם? ביזית? I humiliated? I spit it at it. Why doesn't he tell him you married a married woman? He says, what you did is bizayon. Remember that? מדוע ביזית את דבר השם לעשות הרע בעיניו, בעיני השם, את אוריה החיתי, the husband, הכית בחרב, you caused his death, because you sent to Yoav, yes, ואת אשתו לקחת לך לאישה. This is a humiliation of דבר השם, this is an upfront against Hashem. Legally, nothing is wrong, but for you, everything is wrong, yes? Here, this is what he's telling you. מה זה מדוע ביזית? ביזיון.
Once it repeats it, אותו הרגת בחרב בני עמון. That's another Avera. You mentioned that Avera in the beginning of the Pasuk.
If you look at Gemara in Kiddushin, Gemara says, Gemara in Kiddushin, you quote the same word of Bnei Ammon that killed other Jewish people. It's not an Avera. The Gemara says he's mored b'malchut if you want to see him. And continue, ואתה לא תסור חרב מביתך. For the duration of your life, you're going to suffer עד עולם. Again, because כי ביזיתני. ביזיתני?
Again,
You did the opposite. You did the opposite. It's a ביזיון for a man like you to do what you did. ותיקח את אשת אוריה החיתי להיות לך לאישה. Legally, she is definitely yours. You can take her legally, but you, after what happened, you shouldn't have taken it. Ko amar Hashem. People are afraid to read it. This is a mistake that legally is glad kosher, or you bet yourself.
Well, he took her for a wife. Now, originally, though, there was the first problem. He's referring only to taking the wife or the fact that.
Now, להיות לך לאישה, wait. כה אמר השם, הנני מקים עליך רעה מביתך, from your house. This is Avshalom, yes, your son. ולקחתי את נשיך לעיניך. It says in Tanakh, that Avshalom had a relationship with many of the wives of David. This is Midah כנגד מיdah, yes? ונתתי לרעך ושכב את נשיך לעיני השמש. You remember it says it did it openly, yes? They made a tent. כי אתה עשית בסתר. ואני אעשה את הדבר הזה נגד כל ישראל ונגד השם. So again, the Malbim answers this question, and Eli pointed out. The Abarbanel says, no, it was definitely took a married woman. You cannot be married to a woman that you had a relationship with. Was bizita, ever bizita. Vayomer תראו דבר פלא. So here is it. I mean, we are afraid to read it the way it's written. This is the one mistake. One mistake. Are you taking pictures of us?
No.
If you take pictures, you have to
No.
tell us. Normally, you have to smile. Every
Yeah.
pictures. You
I know.
know, with kids, when official photographers come to see people in Yankee Stadium, the camera front of
Yeah, of
jump
course.
on
Yeah,
monkeys.
of course.
People like to be seen and they are on the screen.
Yeah.
Human nature. Then Hashem says to him, ויאמר תשמע דבר של דבר פלא. So I mean, we are afraid to read it the way it's written, yes. And man, David was very attracted to a woman. He did not investigate properly. He did. The outcome was such that he's losing 4 kids, and the rest of, if you really want to know, I'll show you in a minute in the text. He became a Metzorah for 6 months also. Because when we're going to read chapter 51, he's using terms that you do a Metzorah. This was a punishment. He had to be kicked out of the city also. Why? Because your name is David. Listen carefully, guys. Torah Temet. See, Joseph, we have a teacher in school that she was a big Chassid of Kennedy. Every time she used to teach American history, Kennedy was, John F. The man was a womanizer. Yeah? I used to ask the kids quietly, did she tell you that? No. Many people said that Hadi Ran for second term would never win because the media would open up all the. You understand? Trump has here and there 2, 3 women. The man was a famous womanizer. King, Mr. King, yes.
Luther King.
I have a dream. The man was a woman. No, don't talk about it. Why is the Torah talking? What is the Pasuk saying? That's invasive. This is written by a prophet, yes? Why is it writing the story?
No cover up.
This is Torah Emet, to teach us, no cover up. Look, even person like David, nothing is forgiven. Look now, look, this about Pele, Jeffrey. Vayomer David el Natan Chatati Adonai. Correct? You have a space in your book? מה זה? מה זה space?
Where's the space?
תשמע, ויאמר נתן אל דוד גם אדוני העביר חטאתך לא תמות. All the commentators wonder, here, Paul תסתכל, יש פה space. Says the Gra, you hear? Everyone wonders. Rambam told us that Vidu is Chatati, Aviti, Pashati. Why is David saying only Chatati? Before we had a chance to say Aviti, Pashati, this is the space, then Navi is telling him, your regret is so big that there's no need to say more than that. The Torah Emet, it has to be bold to hear this.
It was sufficient. It was.
I know it's so powerful and
it
so
was.
sincere.
If it was
This is
effective.
what he says to him. גם השם העביר חטאתך ולא תמות. Says to him, yeah, this is why the space. It doesn't have to say חטאתי אביתי פשעתי.
I see.
You realize what he says to him? ולא תמות. If Hashem is forgiving him, why is David for the rest of his life suffering? Why is David praying? We're going to see. David is David. This is why he's David. Yes. He knows exactly after the prophet spoke to him, this is serious. So A is promised, but Teshuvah is accepted. But
There's still consequences.
on your level to cleanse, what happened, you have to, let's see it now in the text. Was it? כך אומר הגר"א, the Gra says, now the real question now is, which means David is saying, I know that what I did is legal. How do we know? Look a second, go your Tanakh a little bit before, go, okay? Let's go now to Perek Yud Aleph, go to Perek Yud Aleph, page before, on top there, yes. ויהי את הערב, יוסף, יש לך את זה, זה page before, ממש, go back page, ויהי את הערב. Good. ויקם דוד מעל משכבו, והתהלך על גג בית המלך. David is taking a walk on it. וירא אישה רוחצת מעל הגג, אישה woman washing, והאישה טובת מראה מאוד. You ever ask yourself, even in New York, in the filthy New York, you wouldn't see a naked woman alone. Not yet. On the roof. This is Yerushalayim. You know, the Gemara says, let me give you the background of the Gemara and this story. I mean, you really have to laugh. A woman is washing naked. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, David HaMelech is asking Hashem, how can we say Elokei Abraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov? How come we don't say Elokei David? Hashem says, because I tested him, as we read yesterday, the Akedah. I didn't test you. Says you didn't test me, test me. Yes, David, test me. David says, Hashem says, I'll test you and I'll tell you in advance. What I'm testing you. I'm testing you as a woman. Now, the Gemara says, this is good now. She was bathing in a closed room with windows. David is walking on the roof and a bird was passing by. David is shooting the bird with an arrow. The arrow broke the window. This outside the wall. Yeah. So David knows in advance, but the woman, it was a naked woman, she was a really very beautiful woman. Look what happens afterwards. Look, I think that using the example that we mentioned before, shtuyot we do with a teenager. Take a teenage boy, Aruba, yes, he's going on the beach and he saw a beautiful woman. It's kimat honest, yes. I mean, the fact that he's there is not honest, but
That's great.
he could have gone to Netanya, but it makes a difference. But the minute you're there alone, Vayishlach David, וידרוש לאישה. What do you mean, וידרוש? Who is she? He wants to find out, is she married or not married? Listen. ויאמר, the messenger says to him, please listen, הלא זאת בת שבע, בת אריam, she's a grand ruler of Achitophel. אשת אוריה. Uriah is a commander in the army, so she is definitely now legally not married.
He is a Chitti.
Even though
He's
the
a
Torah-
non-Jew.
His name was Uriah.
Even though it's saying Eshet, it's still not.
No, but
Was
this
she
is
betrothed?
this
Was
is the
she-
point. The Gemara said,
Intended but not betrothed? Intended
no,
but
no,
not-
no.
She
Ila is
was
referring
married,
to the Machloket
divorced.
Rashi and Tosfot. Every-
Divorced.
Now it's the
Divorced,
Emma.
but she's in the
Israel and the American army do whatever they can to
Oh,
avoid the problem
oh, I
of
see.
MIAs.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the older time what MIA means?
Yeah.
Even today you have MIAs in Israel, yes? You have everything, you have the teeth and the this way he wrote again
Oh, I see.
for
Yeah,
no
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
She is legally
General.
married, she's not legally not married, but תשמע טוב, וישלח דוד מלאכים, ויקחיה, ותבוא אליו, וישכב עמה, והיא מתקדשת מטומאתה. מה זה מתקדשת מטומאתה? She was not in Nidar. If David wants to do a sin of Eshet, he doesn't care if she's you're like learning your mamot. He says,
Oh,
"Soon
he
Nidar Chal and Eshet Ish,"
So
and
he
he's
asked
so
her, he asked her.
whoever investigated found out that she's Mikadeshet. Why did she come? Well, what do you think the king said? If she's a married woman, she's the wife of a commander, legally she's divorced, but of course don't touch her. And then she becomes pregnant.
Now, one thing, if
So-
David doesn't come back to her, because the Torah, the Navi mentions that Eshet, you took her as a wife. Now, right now, he didn't take her as a wife out. He only.
I know, but it was assumed that everyone that goes to the army and writes a get,
No, I don't mean that. I'm saying that
His-
Natan is talking about when he says you killed what's his name, Uriah, and you took her as a wife. Now, right now, he didn't take her as a wife yet. Later on, he takes her as a wife. So
Because-
right now, he did not go back to her.
we don't know exactly when the Navi came to it. But the question is, Eli, Uriah really was in Yerushalayim because David invited him.
Was he dead at that
Yeah.
time?
We don't know the
Was he
timing of
dead at that
yeah.
time? Or
No.
he just got a
No,
get?
later.
He's still alive.
So
He's still
Rashi,
alive.
according to Rashi, every soldier, upon leaving the house, wrote a get.
So the wife can fool around because she got that
If
get?
she's a loyal wife, I'll give an example. I met here a boy last week. I did a flat very sweet boy. I said, "Hello, Tira. What's doing with your wife? Are you married?" He says, "I was married."
Oh.
He barely has a beard, which means he's like 22. He says to me, "I was married 10 months, and my wife cheated me." He started to cry. You understand? If the woman is not loyal, it makes a difference if she's married or not married. And if she is loyal,
No,
even
but
if
he's-
she did a get, she's not starting
I
to
thought
fool.
the get is a conditional. If
So
somebody
this
died.
is it's a machlokes that Rashi and Tosfot. Gila, you refer to it. Gila, you refer. I told you, David, I said, the grandson of Moshe Reichman told me, his grandmother is still alive. If you meet a lady, she's in her 90s, she's a real lady, aristocratic lady. She radiates respect. She told the grandson that in the 50s, Moshe Reichman was one of the biggest builders in Toronto, so they went together to many social gatherings. But she was a real religious woman. She never shook a man's hand, gave her a husband. She says in one of those gatherings, a very wealthy woman comes with a husband. Well, he said, "Miss Reichman, you're very intelligent." This is an old-fashioned, not to shake a woman's hand. See, today, Joseph, we are polite. She told the grandson, "I wasn't afraid of this woman.
What'd she
Be
say?
embarrassed." She says to her, "Let me ask you a question in front of your husband. When your husband goes on business trips, are you sure that he's not fooling around in Japan?" She's asking for him. The woman says, well, I don't know, but I hope so. No. And she tells the husband, Joseph's question, not a soldier. When your husband goes away, is he sure that you're not fooling it on him? And the husband says, I hope so. She says to the woman, but me and Moshe are sure because we never touched a woman in our life before we were married. Yeah, that's not. He says, yeah, okay, I understand. You're asking the soldiers if you suspect that if you give your wife a little that she's fooling around, you'll kick her months before you go to the army. Yeah? I mean, it's by everyone.
So the question, why didn't she tell David, I'm a married woman?
The answer is because legally she's not married. Because she has a gun. This is the point where you're afraid to read it because, oh, David. Look, the text is screaming, yes. And this same David, let's go back to the Tehillim. I mean, this is the reason I'm bringing it to show you. Everyone agrees that the interpretation of the Marbim and the interpretation is Emet. But David knows that he made a big mistake because Natan Navi, let's go back to the Tehillim now. Well, this is what he says. This is what he says now. Tehillim 51. First, he's asking Hashem, please have mercy on me. Herev kabseini me'avoni u'mechatati titahareni. Pasuk Dalet. Pasuk Dalet. Herev, yeah? See the pasuk? 51, 51, pasuk Dalet. Pasuk 4. How do you know the psukim? This is
Because the Midrash says that she was supposed to be David's wife.
The Gemara says it in you know the Gemara says in Sanhedrin. Had David not done it, Uriah would have died anyway, and she would become legally his wife. The Gemara says Uriah ita bat sheva leDavid from the beginning. But this was like a fruit that he picked up before the time. Yeah. It's also a big lesson in life. Whatever you're supposed to get, you get. If you're trying to get it the wrong way, this is your challenge. This is life.
Cleanse me thoroughly from my iniquity and purify me from my sin.
What is this double language?
Seems.
And said first,
clean and pure.
First to clean, then even if you are clean now, but perhaps there's a lot of residue left, yes? Every Shabbat, by us, when we gefilte fish, we eat with horseradish, it's very red. Every time I run always Saturday night, I have alcohol, 97%. And you can see the first two minutes, you still feel it. As you go again, then it disappears. This is what he's saying. He's saying, I fully understand.
Get the white horseradish. Get the white horseradish. It's a little more strong. White horse.
By the way, we have a woman by us in school that met. She told me she was in the hospital giving birth. And the Russian lady told her that if you have high blood pressure,
horseradish.
Takes it. She
lowers it?
Lowers the horseradish.
Beets, which means beets in general. Yeah, beets in general, somehow we say. The woman told her in Russia, it was all
beets.
Beets lowers blood pressure. If you take blood pressure medicine, try to take a few weeks, and don't take your medicine for a few days. I mean, not to get the stroke, not too many days, not too many times. I mean, I'm right. No, the lady told me. The doctor says, hey, look, I see a big change. What will happen? She told him. He said, okay, beets. No, I think always this is maybe the custom. Why is white horseradish?
The white, I think, is really not from beets. The white one is from the white. The grain is from the grain. That's different. That's not a beet. It's a different type of root.
Of course.
But that one that goes through your brain.
Go further.
Same horseradish.
Is it? It's horseradish, but it's a different recipe.
Right, it's basically
beets. They put the beets. They're coloring. It's coloring and it's not sweet. It sweetens it a little, I guess. So diminishes it.
Look further.
Clean.
Guys, you can't have Ashkenaz house itself different house.
Right.
That's hand in hand.
My mother always wanted us to taste other food, so she taught us to eat gefilte fish. She says, people eat it, you should learn to eat it. They like it. A and B is a good brand.
Keep shy.
You actually like it?
Yeah, I like it. Enjoy it.
No, it's whatever you get used to. It's whatever David continues, כי פשעי אני אדע. וחטאתי, listen to this. One mistake that the man makes. פשעי אני אדע. I know. This is a passion. Passion is a high level of. מה זה וחטאתי נגדי תמיד? Read please in the English translation, right? פסוק 5.
For I recognize my transgressions, and my sin is continually before me. Forever, it's tamid, forever.
This is David. I'm just showing you on one hand. It's great. Exactly. I have Rabbeinu Yonah, but we'll stop here. This week we'll continue. Rabbeinu Yonah says, forgiving is the lowest level. Then the cleansing process depends how much you sincerely regret. And the cleansing process is a very long. I told you.
On the other hand, we spoke to yesterday with Rabbi Master. We talked about teshuvah and how it's as if you didn't do the sin at all, like it's wiped out. That's the thing. And you see too. And I was going to say here.
Can I tell you a secret?
It is, but you still did it.
Yeah.
So I just say on David's level, he doesn't. It's not on our
Let me
level.
tell you a secret of rabbi. The secret of a rabbi is not a rabbi, it's everyone. The secret is, depends who you're talking to. I mean, each one, every day. Sometimes a teenager comes in and starts to cry right away. You realize he's going to tell you something terrible. Okay? I can tell you what you did, you have to fast 40 years straight. The fact that you came and you cried and showed
First step.
First. And thank God. Slowly, it's very.
No, I'm not saying the Rabbi. He brought proofs. I mean, he brings whoever says it that that
It's a man, but this is what Paul told me. This is Shalei Teshuvah.
We're so last forever. But I mean, we were there. I think we were talking about that it's wiped out. Now, I don't think I say it's on David, but people on this level, it's not wiped out.
The Gra of Vilna, and the student, in these few days, the guy told me what is my purpose. He says, last time he spoke to us, he told us, a certain avarot that you do, forget about it. Yeah? So says, I became sick. So the guy told him, but I forgot to say, if a person suffers in life, there's discomfort, humiliation.
Wipes it out.
So when Rav Maslow spoke, this is straight Rabbeinu Yonah, I said it a million times. As the Avera, but David, Tzechilul Hashem, and then on your level, David said, even though he says, Chatata lo tamut. But the rest, tomorrow we'll continue with Rabbeinu Yonah. And leave the Tehillim also here. So I have Rabbeinu Yonah here again. Rabbeinu Yonah here. Look at something here. Rabbeinu Yonah, down on the down shape. You see all the way to the back, and 3 more.
All the way in.
But first, let's take all the Rambams here.
I think we mentioned David, the important thing that David tells us is not the actual sin, is if we do Hashem.
It's exactly the point.
Because the next person says, I sinned against you.
This is right.
I sinned against you. He didn't say.
Right. This is exactly the point.